Welcome to Sit, Stay, Read, the podcast for every wag, whinny, and whisker. I'm Kathleen Donnelly, award-winning author and retired canine handler. Each week, I chat with novelists about the bond we share with our furry friends and how they inspire stories. Grab a coffee, get cozy with your favorite pet. It's time to sit, stay, read. Today, I am excited to welcome Brian Thiem to the show. Brian is a retired lieutenant from the Oakland Police Department, but he now writes the Mud Flats, I have to say this, Mud Flats Murder Mysteries. Say that fast 5 times, right?
Mhm.
Or Murder Club Mysteries. His latest in the series is A Death in the Deluge. It just released. It's so fantastic. Brian, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've been excited to talk to you because I had Bruce Robert Coffin on the show, and I saw he blurbed your book, and he's another retired officer, and I love the police procedurals from you guys. Did you
Well,
always?
Bruce is a great friend. I met him,
Okay.
boy, before he even had an agent up at
Oh, wow.
the Crime Bake Mystery Raiders of America conference up outside of Boston. And
Okay.
I introduced him to my agent, and so we have the same literary agent. And because of our similar
Cool.
background, we're always talking back and forth. So he's a good friend.
Yeah, I can see I love the books written by police officers because the police procedure is just so there and accurate. Have you always wanted to write a mystery? Was this something you wanted like your whole career or?
I wrote short stories back when I was, in school, but, then I went to college and then I got jobs and, quite honestly, during the 30 years of working, I didn't even have much time to read fiction for
Yeah.
fun. So, I mean, where I grew up, boys grow up to get jobs and make a living. They don't
Yeah.
grow up to write to become novelists. So it wasn't until after I retired that I thought I had time to read for fun, and I thought for the first time that, wow, maybe I could write something.
Yeah, and write something you have. You have this series, the Mudflat Murder Club Mysteries, and then you have a previous series. Do you want to tell us a little bit about each?
Well, yeah, the previous series, and the publisher called it the Detective Matt Sinclair series, but it features a homicide detective sergeant in Oakland, California, where I worked for many, many years and where I worked homicide for many, many years. Um, uh, and it was probably more authentic, a little bit gritty because that's
Okay.
the way Oakland was. Um,
Yeah.
and then when that finished was series was over, the publisher had wanted 3 books. Then I tried writing other things, and then I came up with the help of my wonderful agent, I came up with the Mudflats Murder Club.
Oh, I love it. And go ahead and tell us a little bit. Death in the Deluge is what the third one, right?
Yes.
Do I have that right? So go ahead and give us a little bit of the story in that one. It's really fun.
Okay. Here's the book, but you already showed it off. Um, I could read you the summary on the back, but instead I'll tell you just about it. Um,
Yeah.
uh, this starts off with a uh, uh, woman who was murdered in her house, and her teenage daughter was kidnapped. First on the scene, after the initial patrol deputies, was Sergeant Charlie Nash, Charlotte Nash, but she goes
Charlotte.
by Charlie. And because she now has a history of working with the Mudflats Murder Club, which is a cold case team consisting of retired law enforcement professionals that retired down here on Spartina Island, and one of them being Sean Tanner, who is retired from the
Mhm.
Oakland Police Department. Um, I can tell you more about him later, but
Yeah.
because of his extensive experience in Oakland, where of course they have a lot more murders than they do on Spartina Island, she asked him to come out and look at the scene, which he did. And together they investigated this murder and found that it was also linked to a cold case where another young girl was murdered on Spartina Island years before.
Yeah.
Um, and so as they keep on investigating, a hurricane is barreling down on Spartina Island, um, and they get word that uh, the bad guys, the ones that they believe kidnapped the girl, they are holed up on Spartina Island, and everybody else is back on the mainland. And Charlie and Sean decide to drive into the hurricane to see if they can find the girl
Yeah.
and rescue her.
Yeah, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. Partially because one, I live in Colorado, so I've never experienced a hurricane. Um,
But you have experienced blizzards.
I have, that I have,
Yes.
yes. Yes. And so maybe it's similar because I would think nothing about driving into a blizzard if someone's life was on the line. But uh so obviously you live now in this area, right? You live in South Carolina?
Yes, I live in South Carolina down
Okay.
in the Hilton Head Island area. Um,
Okay.
I moved down here about, well, 11 years ago.
So
Um,
you've probably experienced some hurricanes then.
Since we've lived here, we evacuated twice during hurricanes. Hurricane Matthew was probably the big one. It
That's
was a
right.
good thing
Yeah.
that we evacuated on that one. Then there was another one that, we did the safe thing. They suggested we evacuated, so we went inland. It wasn't really necessary. But
Okay.
yeah, hurricanes are scary, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Mother Nature definitely is. And this is part of what I really enjoyed with your characters. You have Charlie and Sean. Charlie, as a female, I loved her character because she's tenacious. She just does it. Is she based off of anyone you worked with or just someone who came to you while you were writing?
I mean, I made her up from a lot of different people, but when I worked for the Oakland Police Department, I had the pleasure and honor of working with some wonderful, wonderful female officers and female, women detectives. Um,
Yeah.
and so I take a lot of what I know from them. One of my beta readers is she's now retired from Oakland, uh,
Okay.
but she worked homicide for many, many years. And so, and like I say, one of my beta readers. And so when I finish a book, I send it to her. And if
Okay.
I don't do proper credit to my female characters, especially Charlie, she lets me know.
I was wondering because like I said, as a female reader, I just was like, yes, go Charlie. And I loved her. So, so that's great that you have a beta reader and someone you worked with in the homicide unit to beta read it. Now, Sean, I feel like Sean could be, you and Sean have some similarities. So is he sort of based off of you somewhat or?
No, I tell people, Sean is he's much better looking than I. He's a better detective. Um, probably not quite, well, maybe similar, maybe just as much of a pain in the butt to his superiors as I was. Um, but he's also, a, a combination of many, many people I worked with and then combined with
Okay.
my imagination. But yes, I worked homicide for many years, and so I understand exactly Sean's mindset when he goes out there and starts investigating. Interesting thing, just kind of funny. In the first book, it kind of kicks off with Sean there on Spartina Island, and he's floundering because, when he retired, he moved to Spartina Island, which, by the way, is a fictional place.
Okay.
Uh, and because he worked homicide for many, many years, his wife pretty much took care of the family, raised the kids, and was so very supportive. So he promised to her that once he retired, that it was just going to be them together, spending their golden
Yeah.
years together. And then she died of cancer. And so Sean is there with no purpose in life other than his really bad golf game and fishing out in the tidal rivers and releasing the fish until there was a murder across the street and he was asked to get involved with the cold case team. So that gave Sean a purpose in life again. Um, and so, that's where Sean is. You say, you know, investigating murders was not part of his life plan, but that's what he's doing, and he's very good at it.
Oh, I love that. Well, and I was reading your bio, and so one of the similarities is it sounds like you have also helped with some cold cases in your area. Are you still doing that, or are you?
Yes, when I retired and moved down here, I found that there was an organization called the Low Country Retired Law Enforcement Officers Association.
Okay.
And right now, I think there's about 200 members. So
Wow.
a lot of retired cops and retired federal agents and stuff have moved down here. And so I joined the organization. It was mostly social. Um, but when they found out my experience working homicide, they asked me to join the sheriff's cold case team, which, just like in my fictional book, it consists of retired law enforcement professionals from around the country. And we look at unsolved murders and see if we can lend some of our experience to help the sheriff's detectives solve them.
Cool. Have you had any cases that have been reopened and or maybe cold cases are never closed. Maybe reopen's the wrong word, but that have gone on and been solved?
Well, when I joined the cold case team, one of the things that we were told right away is that we on the cold case team never will solve one of the cases.
Okay.
And that's partly because, I mean, you don't want a bunch of these Northerners coming down here telling these Southerners how to do police work. So if we do anything, if we provide any advice, if we provide any clarity or provide any leads, it's the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department investigators that actually solve the case. So we have
Okay.
never solved a case and we never will.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I mean, how lucky they are to have such a group of expertise, I would think. I mean, you said 25 years working in Oakland, right? Or 30 years working in Oakland.
25 years in Oakland.
Okay.
And yes, quite
Okay.
honestly, I mean, during the time I worked in homicide, I was the lead investigator on almost 100 murders. Um,
Wow.
so I investigated more murders in Oakland than all the detectives in Beaufort County Sheriff's Office have during their entire careers put together. So
Wow.
I have a lot of experience, and there are other people in the cold case team with similar experiences.
Wow. That's something. I mean, it's just, yeah, to have that experience is, I mean, the on the job. Did you have any cases? I found the case in a death in the day. I can't say it. I'm sorry. A death in the deluge. Interesting. With, the mother who's been murdered and then her missing daughter. And did you have any cases similar to that, or was this just something that came to you again for fiction?
Well, I had cases similar to that, yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I look back on my career, and in Oakland, a lot of the murders were drug related, gang related,
Okay.
but also I investigated a number of domestic murders, um, several committed by serial killers. I mean, one who
Wow.
had committed, or I think 7 or 8 murders that
Oh
we
my
were
gosh.
able to get, murders in the course of robberies and kidnappings. So it was the entire gamut.
Wow. Yeah, you really did. So I was curious as I was reading your book, and of course I don't know law enforcement other than research I've done for my books. Maybe I thought one thing that impresses me with you is how you wove in the police procedure with the story. I mean, the story, the tension was always there, but the police procedure was always there. Is that hard to do, or is it pretty straightforward because of your experience?
Well, it's something that I learned to do. When I started writing, I first wrote a novel that wasn't any good, and I went back to school and I got an MFA, Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing.
Okay.
And my professors there pointed out that one of the big problems in my book that I had written, which, like I say, wasn't any good, that it sounded like a show from Dragnet,
Oh no.
where I
Okay.
mean, it was so police procedural that it almost read like a police report.
Okay.
Um, and so I have learned over the years to tone that down. and balance it, and look at my audience instead of me writing a, you know, big long homicide investigative report,
Mhm.
which is written for the prosecutor and the judges and lawyers and such. I'm now writing for average readers. Um, and so if I
Nice.
go into, a 20-page detail of what the investigators are doing, I'm going to lose them. Um,
Yeah.
so I've learned to balance that. And also if I go too far overboard, that's why I have beta readers that
Yep.
read it and said, you went a little too far on the homicide stuff. Can you condense that and, get some more into what's going on between Sean and Charlie?
I love that. Yes, yes. Sean and Charlie have a developing relationship and it cracked me up because I don't know Southern culture, but her mother, Charlie's mother, giving permission, if it's okay to, hopefully that's not a spoiler, but that just cracked me up.
No, and Charlie's mother, I really based her on probably more a stereotypical Southern lady. I mean, I mentioned there that, her mother, Abigail, would be much happier back in Scarlett O'Hara's day than the present day. And they live in a big antebellum mansion, and she is very, very proper. Um, yeah.
Very.
And Charlie, she went away to college and she's kind of the rebel. So that creates a little bit of conflict between them.
Yeah, yeah. And it makes it fun, to see this and poor Sean doesn't probably even realize how caught in the middle he is. So that made it fun too.
Yes, yes.
Well, it's Sit, Stay, Read. So there's another character we must talk about, and that is Annie. Tell
Mhm.
us about Annie.
Well, in the Annie in the book is I haven't given her an age, but she's a yellow lab. And my Annie is lying on her dog bed right over here. I don't want to
Aw.
move the camera, but here is
Aw.
there is Annie. You
Oh,
know,
she's beautiful.
yeah. Well, my
Aw.
my real Annie is 14 years old now.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
she's slowing down a little bit, but wait a minute, she just perked up when she heard her name over there. Um, but the Annie in the book, I haven't given her an age, but in my mind, she's somewhere around 4, 5, 6 years old. And
Okay.
the neat thing about my book is that the Annie in the book will always remain that way. Um, you
I
know,
love that.
and so I go back to my memories of what Annie was like at that stage. Um, Now, before Annie, I had another yellow lab named Amber, and
Oh, cool.
Amber made it to almost 15 years old. So I'm hoping the same
Wow.
for Annie. She's still hanging in there and still goes for her walks. And her
Good.
favorite time of the day is at 6 o'clock when she's sitting by my bed, telling me it's time to get up and put dog food in my dish. Um,
Yes.
and then if I'm upstairs working at my desk, um, and about quarter to five, she starts sitting right beside me because she knows 5 o'clock is dinner time. So, but I can't imagine my house without a dog in it anymore.
I understand that. I totally understand. And labs are, I was telling you, I have a black lab. Labs are they're just wonderful, wonderful dogs. And they do keep track of when you're supposed to feed them. That's for
Oh,
sure.
oh yes, she does. And I live in a nice neighborhood in a gated community, and so we go for a short walk every morning. She's fine for about a 15 to 20-minute walk, but she really believes that everybody in this neighborhood is part of her family. So,
Yeah.
she walks very well at heel on the left side, but she
Aw.
sees someone, walking down the street, and right away she wants to go over there and, be petted by them. And of course, she knows the people that carry dog treats in their pockets,
Oh,
and
yes.
yeah. Yeah. So that's my Annie.
I love it. I love it. And Annie in the book is just as charming. So it's fun to hear that that's sort of that one, it is a real Annie. And too that, the age you're kind of thinking of in the book. And I can see she's as special to Sean as your Annie is to you. So that's fun.
Yes, I mean, now that, Sean is living alone, Annie is his companion. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
And, one of the hard things about writing a pet into a book, especially when it's a crime thriller, is, the hero is off doing things, and sometimes,
Yes.
you know, and he can't have his dog with him. So I always got to be thinking, where's Annie in the back of my mind? You know,
Yeah.
just like you and I do in real life. I mean, if I'm, like for instance, I'm doing a author talk and book signing today, and I have to be
Nice.
there, or I have to leave the house at 4:45. So that means I feed Annie before you know, but I can't forget
Mhm.
about her. I can't just say, okay, she eats
No.
5 o'clock and I'm gonna jump in the car with my wife and go to this event and not be back until 8 o'clock. Um, you know, yeah. So all of the time, I'm always thinking about Annie, and just Sean has to do the same thing. If he's going to be out late, he has to get one of his neighbors to come over and feed her. If he's going to be out of town, he has to find, someone to take care of her and those kinds of things.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, and that really came through. It was fun to read. And you're right. They are such a part of our lives. You don't just leave and stop thinking about them. So I love how that came through with Sean as well. And obviously
Yeah.
from your love. You also worked with some canines, right? In your homicide or not homicide, you worked SWAT. Is that right? Do I have that right?
Yes, at one point I was the as a lieutenant I was the commander of the special operations section, and that
Okay.
included SWAT, hostage negotiators, helicopter unit, the K9, um, and so I mean I was never a K9 handler myself. I was kind of the commander over the unit, but I went out and watched their training. I watched them on missions, and so I knew quite a bit about them.
That's
And,
cool.
quite honestly, when I got my first lab, Amber, um, I had talked to so many of the guys on how to train Amber to be as disciplined as the police dogs. And and Amber was, um, she was absolutely amazing. I mean, when
Cool.
my wife would take her for a walk in our neighborhood in California, she could go out on this bike walking path for 3 miles and never
Wow.
put a leash on Amber, and she would just heel right at her left
Nice.
side. If she
Nice.
stopped, Amber would sit immediately. Um, I could be walking downtown in one of the little shopping areas and have Amber sit and stay and go into a coffee shop to get a cup of coffee and be gone 10 minutes, and she would not move from that location. Um,
Wow.
uh, now, now my Annie is not quite as well disciplined because, well, when I got her, we were living in Connecticut, so we were more out in the country and stuff, so she wasn't exposed to that.
Yeah.
And plus, my wife is always she's a bad influence on her.
We won't tell her you said that, but
Oh, she knows that
she knows.
I tease her about that all the time. Yeah.
I sympathize with her. I always feel like I'm like, oh, I should be, with my dog, I should be like, he needs to sit and stay. And I'm like, oh well. Which isn't good. Now that he's retired, I'm like, oh, you're good. So
Yeah.
so I get how she is. Do you have any fun canine stories or interesting canine stories that you'd like to share from
Wow.
working with the SWAT or
Wow.
and if not, that's okay. I didn't
Well,
mean to put
I
you on the
mean,
spot.
I think some of the most amazing things that, what I saw with our canines was um, when the SWAT team is out and we're searching a house for a bad guy, usually an armed person, and we make the entry and we go inside and we know he's inside the house, but we've searched everywhere and he's not there. And there's the little cubby hole that goes up into the attic. Um, and that's one of the most dangerous things because you put a ladder there and some SWAT guy has to basically stick his head up through that, which makes him extremely vulnerable.
Yes.
So what we have learned to do, and with the training of the canines, is one of our, I think we had three canine handlers with dogs on the SWAT team. They would put the
Wow.
dog on their shoulder, climb up the ladder, and of course we would announce, we're sending the dog in, we're sending the dog in, we're sending the dog in,
Mhm.
and no response, and then pop that hatch and put the dog up there. Um,
Okay.
and then the dog, of course, would rush at them, grab a hold of them, and then the SWAT team could follow in after that while he was distracted. Um,
Wow.
you know, but I mean, it's amazing the courage of, the canines, and they don't even hesitate,
Mm.
being climbed up on a ladder on the shoulders of, someone and stuck through a hole up into an attic, and they just go and do their job.
Oh, that's I love that. Thank you for sharing that because I think a lot of people don't realize the situations the dogs are used in that, that once they're being deployed, you're in a real serious situation. So that's amazing. And they save a lot of lives too. So
They save a lot of lives, and I mean, we had a bloodhound that was assigned to the canine unit, and he was assigned to an investigator in our juvenile section because he was basically used to search for missing children. Um,
wow.
and I mean, the bloodhound was amazing, but if you know a bloodhound, they're always slobbering, you know.
Yes.
So, so he was the most slobbering animal. And when they're not working, they're lazy. I mean, the
Yes, they
German
are.
Shepherds and the Belgian Malinois, I mean, they were always active and stuff. I mean, you tell them to sit and stay, and you could still see them trembling. But with the bloodhound, you tell him to sit, and he would sit for 2 seconds, and then he would lay down and go to sleep. I mean, they would just,
I love it.
I mean, they would rest whenever, but hey, if you needed them to track, they were very, very alert then.
Yeah, that's something. And boy, they can track for miles, can't they, with their
Yes.
amazing noses. So that is something. Wow, that's really cool that you guys had a bloodhound unit. You hear about them off and on, and one of our neighboring counties has a bloodhound that I've been following on Facebook from a puppy on. So
Oh,
I think he passed tracking. I think he's out working now, but it's just fun. So that's cool. Well,
yeah.
what is up next for you? Is there another, are we going to see Sean and Charlie come back or a new series or what are you working on?
No, when my agent first negotiated the contract for this series, it was intended to be a four-book series.
Okay.
But the first book, The Mudflats Murder Club, did so incredibly well. The publisher came back to my agent and said, "Hey, can you talk Brian into writing four more books?"
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah. And so we did some back and forth, with the contract and everything. And so this is now an eight-book series. Um,
Fantastic.
um, and my agent always reminds me, when I'm sitting here and telling people, well, I can't play golf today, I have to write. She says, don't you ever complain about having an eight-book series because there are thousands of authors around that would love to be in that position. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, the fourth book in the series, A Killing Reputation, is it's already finished. The
Nice.
publisher has already designed the cover and it's available for pre-order. It won't come out, it comes out in January next year. Um, but I've completed the final edits. Now it's just all the production
Okay.
things that the publisher does. And I'm in the midst of writing book number five in the series. Um,
Fantastic.
so, yes, Sean and Charlie will continue working together all the way through eight books.
Nice.
Readers are interested to know when they're going to finally get together. And all I can say is, you have to just keep on reading and, uh,
I love that. I love it. Well, at least we know from this book that Charlie's mother has given her blessing. So,
yes.
so we have that much info. Well, that's so cool. How can readers stay in touch with you and find out when these next books come out? Because it's very exciting.
Well, I'm very active on Facebook under my name,
Okay.
Brian Thiem. Also Instagram. Um, I try to do a newsletter, but quite honestly, I think I've done three of them, since this series. Um, but I think really through Facebook and Instagram is probably the best way. Um, and I usually try to post something there every couple days on, what's going on. And even if it has nothing to do with my writing, I'll post a picture of Annie or of Lexi. Oh,
Nice.
you forgot to ask about Lexi.
Oh, yes, Lexi, thank you. Tell us about
Um,
Lexi.
Yeah. Now, I'd say, Lexi is a Tonkinese cat, which is a
Yeah.
mix between a Siamese and a Burmese. Um,
Okay, I was wondering.
yeah. In real life, she lives in my house, but I don't have a cat. My wife, Kathy, has a cat. Um, but Lexi sometimes thinks I'm one of her people too. So even if I'm trying to read a book, she wants to come up and crawl on my lap, and I tell her I don't like cats, but she doesn't care, which really isn't true. But but Lexi lives in Charlie's house,
That's right.
uh,
Yes.
and it's never been clarified whether Lexi is really Charlie's cat or her mother's cat. Um,
Okay.
but so yes, Lexi is in the books also.
I love it. Well, you got to be fair. If you're going to have Annie in
Abs
the books, you got to have Lexi in the books. So,
that's right. Yes.
yeah, yeah. And apologize to Lexi that I forgot to ask about her because I would be in big trouble. I know, especially with a cat. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
they are a different personality. Did you, was she at like a shelter or was she Tonkinese is a breed? So I didn't know if it was,
Yeah. No, and my history with cats, I never had cats when I was growing up. And when my wife, Kathy, and I got married, um, she was divorced from her previous husband, and she had a cat, which was
okay.
a Himalayan. And because Kathy would come over and visit me pretty much every weekend and stay at my place, she didn't know what to do with her cat. And so she brought the cat moved into my house before Kathy did,
Oh
because
no,
of
I
course
love it.
I was there Monday through Friday, and both of us were there for the weekend. And so that was my first experience with cats. And
Nice.
so, this is the third cat that I have had in my house, since then. The first Tonkinese. Um,
Okay.
and mainly my wife wanted a Tonkinese because she loved the Himalayans, but because of their long hair and everything, they're just a
Yeah,
lot of work brushing them and everything.
it is. Yeah, I would imagine. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I love the history there. So that's fun. Oh my gosh. And what does Annie think of Lexi? Do they get along?
Yeah, oh, they get along. Annie pretty much ignores her.
Okay.
Um, Lexi sometimes will, if Annie's over by my side, wagging her tail, Lexi will get up on the table and swat her, play with her tail a little bit. Um, they drink out of the same water dish.
Okay.
We gave Lexi her own water dish by her food dish, but she wants to drink out of Annie's water dish. Um, so they live together. There's no problem. They don't dislike each other, but it's
That's
not like they
great.
sit down and cuddle together either.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe in future books, it's not just if Charlie and Sean get together, it's how Annie and Lexi also work it out.
Yes, at some point, Annie and Lexi in the book will end up meeting.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been a really fun and interesting conversation.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, and everyone, if you enjoy police procedurals with a fantastic mystery, you got the dog, you have cat, cold case unit, check out A Death in the Deluge by Brian Thiem. And until next time, keep your tails wagging and pages turning. Thanks for joining me today. Sit, Stay, Read is a part of the Authors on the Air Global Network. If you enjoyed today's author interview, be sure to leave a review and share the episode with a fellow animal-loving reader. If you're curious about the world of working dogs and wilderness adventures, please check out my books at KathleenDonnelly.com. Until next time, curl up with your best furry friend and sit, stay, read.